So I'm Christian Chang from Echo Green Youth, and I have the wonderful opportunity to talk with Professor Zachary Johnson at the Duke University Marine Lab in Pybers Island, North Carolina. Professor Johnson is an expert in molecular biology and marine sciences, and he's currently researching algae. So, Professor Johnson, I know you have been working around algae for quite some time now, so I'm curious, why did you decide to study algae?
Yeah, well, one is they're just cool. A lot of them look really cool under the microscope and kind of the hidden forests of the ocean. So I thought in that sense they're beautiful and really cool. But more, they're doing really important things. And so, they're responsible for half of the oxygen we breathe, responsible for consuming carbon dioxide and essentially driving. They're the engine that drives the Earth's ocean, and so just their super importance, their beauty, and a lot is unknown about them, and so their grand importance and the fact that we don't know a lot about them was really intriguing, and so that's what got me hooked. So I grew up near the ocean, and so certainly marine science I think is in my blood. The first time I was formally exposed to algae was when I was an undergraduate in college. And so I had the opportunity to work with a professor who studied algae, and she sort of opened my eyes to their importance and the little that was known about them at the time. And she had discovered the most abundant algae on the planet, and so there was a lot of buzz at the time. And so she really exposed me to the possibilities of the field and just all that it could be.
What are your goals with algae?
Yeah, so we've been working on this developing algae as a sustainable source of products that we need. So primarily feed, food, and fuel for a while. In the beginning, that focused on developing algae as a sustainable biofuel, and we're still working on that. That's still really important to us. So in researching and developing marine microalgae as a sustainable biofuel, what we've and others have learned is that algae, in addition to having, of course, oil in them, they also have carbohydrates and protein. And it turns out that the makeup, the composition of marine microalgae have a lot of things that are really beneficial to animals. And in particular, chickens are a desirable animal to feed because they grow really fast, they use resources efficiently, and so the protein that's in microalgae could be fed to the chickens, and then the oil fractionated off and potentially used as a biofuel. And so it's kind of using the same base product, that algae, but for multiple purposes. And so for that, you're using resources more efficiently, and also potentially making more money, which makes it more likely that it'll be taken up at the commercial scale.
I was also just wondering what the hardest part about working with algae is, because at the lab I've noticed some of the failures that have occurred, but it's pretty cool seeing how you guys turn those into learning experiences. So I was just wondering what your...
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge of working with algae and really any living organism is that it's a living organism, and we know a lot, but there's a lot of things we don't know, and so we're on the bleeding edge of developing this technology, and so we apply the tools and the knowledge that we have, but algae always has surprises, and it's and the approaches that we're doing, they're in the field, they're outside, they're in complex environments, and so how organisms respond to those often has a lot of surprises. And so we go in, and a lot of times we have a lot of success, but other times we have challenges, and we learn from that. And so we're just like a farmer, or even a backyard farmer. You do something one year, or you do something one time, and you try that, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, and then you build off your successes, and also try to learn from your failures as well. So it's really, that it's a living organism is probably the biggest challenge that we have.
Echo Green Youth heavily focuses on sustainability and maintaining our environment.
Yeah.
How do you think your work with like biofuels, food, how do you think that helps the environment?
Yeah, so the reason that we're researching microalgae, marine microalgae, as a sustainable source of feed, food, and fuel is it's all about the sustainability. That's what we care about. And so it's easy enough to drill for more oil. It's easy enough to grow crops in a conventional way. But what what we want to try to do is make processes, develop approaches that are more sustainable, and so so marine microalgae have really strong fundamentals. They don't use fresh water, which is limiting basically everywhere on the planet. Everything that we do, we ground in a life cycle analysis. And so what we do is we look at it and say, okay, we're developing a process. Does it use less resources? Is it more helpful to the environment than the base process? And so we want things to be better, and just because we can do them doesn't necessarily mean they're better, but we only pursue the things that are better. And so marine microalgae have a lot of those core fundamentals, and which is why we're spending so much time with them. No, I think so we talked about it in the past that the first thing that most people think about when they think of algae is harmful algal blooms and toxins. Maybe the next thing is sort of pest growth on their shower curtain or in their swimming pool or something like that. But what they don't realize is that half of the oxygen we breathe every day comes from the ocean, which is algae. We already eat algae in the form of, there's agar, which can be in ice cream or in toothpaste or other forms. And so it's already doing a lot of stuff for society at large, cleaning up the air by consuming carbon dioxide. And so people don't realize all the good that's happening already. But there's also a great potential for it to do even more. And I think that's what's exciting to me.
It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Okay.
I had a great time here at the lab for the past few weeks, and I wish you and the team the best of luck in the future.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for your contributions to the lab. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.